Tech for another Soultrader variant. I'm really on the train right now, so let's go through it because we had a great discovery. One of you guys suggested a card. I was asking for a card that comes with 2 additional bodies that we can revive with Chthonian Nightmare so we can go infinite even harder. And here we have it. Morg War Marshal. When it enters or dies, we create a 1/1 red goblin creature token. So Goblin Morg War Marshal together with Chthonian Nightmare and Soultrader goes infinite. We sacrifice the War Marshal and one of the token to play the Nightmare, and then the Nightmare can sacrifice the last token to bring back the War Marshal. As it is, just infinite game actions and us losing infinite life. But together with an Apprentice, it's basically the same spiel as having a Gravecrawler, and together with a Sephiroth, it's just infinite drain. So having access to another creature that gives loads more bodies makes Chthonian Nightmare better, makes one Soultrader better, makes Sephiroth better, makes Marionette Apprentice better. So that's really nice. And the Red Splash also allows us to play Goblin Bombardment as another interaction piece. So we can shave slightly on some of our interaction, which we have to do because without playing mono black, we lose loads of our utility lands. We don't have space for our Castle Lochthwain, we don't have space for the Fellmire, but we're still able to play the Bogger Trawler because they're just a decent black creature and we can just use them, and our red splash is really soft. So going through the entire list, still 2 Fatal Push, 4 Gravecrawler, 4 Stitcher Supplier, 3 Unearth. The last list didn't have the Unearth, it was just a straight up miss on my part, the list I played at locals. At Unearth, the list I would recommend you playing at Unearth. So if you look at the list from the last video, get rid of 1 Shambling Guard, get rid of 1 Swamp and 1 Nightmare to include 3 Unearths. Unearth together with Stitcher Supplier and all these good 3 drops, really good. And the deck also just getting back 2 drops often, really good. So we are at 21 lands, because that's actually enough. We have Phyrexian Tower as a utility land, 3 Spymaster Vault to be able to combo, and the 2 drops, again, 1 Accursed Marauder, 3 Nightmare, because we shaved 1 for the Unearths basically, 4 Apprentice, 3 Bowlmaster, shaved 1 to have more space for the other 2 drops, 3 Rock War Marshal because they also go infinite, and 2 Bombardment as additional interaction, 3 drops, 3 Sephiroth, 4 Soultrader to combo, and 3 Flare of Malice to have interaction against big creatures and free interaction. On our sideboard, we're not tagged against my local meta. This is a proper sideboard I would recommend you playing. As our graveyard interaction, we have 2 Spellbomb as a surgical extraction still. There's still 4 Fulminator Mages, but there's only 3 Sword Seasons. I just took 1 out by accident. 1 Accursed Marauder, still the 2 Red Canter, mostly against Black-White. But there's also 2 Meathook Massacre because Boros Energy is manageable game 1 because they don't really have good interaction against us except for the 1 or 2 Thraben Charms. But Meathook Massacre turns around quite well. Being able to have a board wipe that also synergizes with our combo and interrupts our opponent game plan with Bombardment. This card in this deck, absolute chef's kiss. So let's run it like this and see if we can go infinite with Morg War Marshal, see if Goblin Bombardment is worth the splash, and let's try Rakdos Soultrader. Let's go! You guys know it, you guys love it. It's a small interim between the deck tech and the game starting. This deck actually was just possible because one of you guys wrote me and suggested, hey man, you wanted Morg War Marshal. That card exists. It's nothing obscure. It might not be a black card, but having a splash color is fine. So please leave a comment. Help me improve the decks. Tell me what decks you would like to see. I already have the next deck queued because someone here wanted to see Brute Scale combo, and I also really want to try Brute Scale combo because Young Lingo is absolutely crushing it with a Golgari list that plays Sephiroth, and Sephiroth together with Kozilek's command just sounds absolutely disgusting and I have to play it. So that will be the next deck we're playing. Leave a like, leave a comment. I've said basically everything, so without further ado, let's run into the games. Oh no, one more thing. I did cut out the last match because the last match was yet again us just being steamrolled by prowess. Game 1, our opponent was looking really good for us, but our opponent out of the hand with nothing on board, played a Swift Spear, buffed it a couple of times for free with Mutagenic Rose, played a Violent Urge, hit us for 16 without paying more than 2 mana for it, and we just died and game 2 we just got dumpstered. So no need to include another game of Soultrader being punished by prowess. We already know the matchup isn't really well. So let's just head into the games that are actually fun. Especially the one against Jeskai Control. Look at the one against Jeskai Control if you don't look at the other ones. We're playing Soultrader combo again because we figured out a spicy new infinite combo that I've already talked to you about in the deck tech. And I want to see if the splash is worth it. And definitely looks okay. We don't have a 1-drop, but we have Apprentice into Soultrader and Sephiroth. We're playing against Amulett. Probably a really tough matchup, but Flare is decent interaction against them, though let's hope that it does anything. Fatal Push looks pretty bad, so let's just ditch that. And next turn we'll run out the Apprentice and hope that our Flare will interact with them, or we just top deck a Gravecrawler and are able to combo them turn 3. So far they are only setting up, and it's not 2 Amulets, so we might be fine. Cat, what the fuck are you doing? Yeah, what's wrong with you? Take a seat over there. Yes, so we have some time. Let's just make a servo. And if we top deck a Gravecrawler next turn, we might just be able to win. And if our opponent only goes for a Titan, Flare is a good way to stop them. Especially if they try to copy it with the colorless land, and we manage to flare it in response. That would be absolutely great. There's a summoner's pact, so they're probably going for it. And if they actually go for... Oh, we might actually kill them. That would be so cute. They sacrifice their lands now, and if they go for a copy on the Titan, I don't know if they can actually go for any graveyard lines with only one Amulet right here. So if they go for the copy land and we kill the Titan in response, it might just be that they don't have the mana to pay for the pact. That would be so fun. They're going for haste on the Titan, so they will be able to pay for the pact. But it still is some sort of time warp. Let's go for the Flare. They do have to use basically all their mana to pay for the pact next turn. Fortunately, we don't really have... Ooh, that's a good one. I will go for Soultrader this turn. So next turn we're able to go for both Sephiroth and the Apprentice. Just playing Sephiroth right now without sacrificing the servo doesn't really provide us with anything. Next turn we can sacrifice the servo for mana with the Apprentice and the Sephiroth in play, so we're able to do some nicer things. Our opponent is time walk right here. Do they have any good follow-up? I hope not. They still have a lot of mana for next turn. So next turn they're still able to pop off probably. But with them using the Summoner's Pact for the Titan, they probably have no Titan in hand now. Like, it would have been this draw step or the next draw step, I'd assume. We're maybe still fine. There is a Garden, so they will have 2 Amulets next turn probably, which might hurt. Let's run out the Apprentice, make the servo, play life, sacrifice the servo for the treasure, go to combat first, then play Sephiroth. There is a possibility that we just top deck lethal if we draw a Gravecrawler right now, but it's not really that likely, and without it we won't have enough damage. Another Trawler unfortunately does nothing. So we are dead to another Titan, especially with 2 Amulets right here. Do you have that opponent? Must have been one of the 2 top decks, otherwise they wouldn't have used the pact right there. There's a normal land drop, and there is a Scape Shift, so they are able to grab a Growth Chamber and start going off with the pact that they can get from that. And they even have the 4 card types to go for the graveyard shenanigans with their boy. Fortunately, we don't have a kill. Yeah, we can just shotgun it. We are dead. I'll just look at if they can grab the Analyst with Tolaria. And if they do, we'll see us in the sideboarding screen. Yep, there's the Analyst, so let's scoop it up. On to sideboarding, we'll definitely have to bring in Swordsheels and Fulminator Mages to interact with them a little, destroy some lands, get rid of their cards. We don't have any artifact removal in our sideboard. Maybe an oversight with the red splash, not gonna lie. And I'll also bring in the Surgical, because if we get rid of Titans or the Analyst, maybe there's no way they can combo us as well. We're getting rid of the Marauder because it's kind of slow as a sorcery speed interaction. Bowmasters also doesn't really do anything. Cut 1 more War Marshal because the Infinite with the Nightmare is also rather slow. Take out the pushes and shave 1 Unearth. Could also be a Nightmare, because Unearth is a card that allows us to be faster, but I think that they have Ujuka Bog and maybe some other graveyard interactions, so I'll check one of the graveyard cards and run it back. On the play against Titan, really close one game before. We have 2 Fulminator Mages, Thoughtseize, and a Stitcher Supplier. That's a keep if I've ever seen one. We don't have a real combo right here, but we might hit something off of the Supplier. And we do have a Thoughtseize turn on, so let's start by doing that and hope we get rid of an Amulet or something like that. There's 1 Amulet, 2 Spelunking, so we'll just get rid of the Amulet because it's a more explosive, dangerous card. Dismember, that's totally fine. Ooh, and we find another Thoughtseize. Let's run out the Supplier. Have to top deck a land next turn, so definitely looking for a land drop. And a second Thoughtseize. There is a Summoner's Pact. I think I'll get rid of Escape Shift together with the Spelunkings and such. Basically also grab some Summoner's Pact. I could get rid of Escape Shift because it stops them from comboing. Could also get rid of the Dismember. I think I'll get rid of the Dismember actually. So we are able to combo ourselves if we draw all the stuff. And with the Fulminator Mage, we should be able to keep them off comboing for a bit longer. There's a Gruta, they grab back their Boseiju. We just have to top deck a land. That's unfortunate. Another 3-drop. Fulminator Mage right here would have been absolute gas. And now they're able to deploy their Spelunkings. Fulminator just got way worse. There's a land drop. Turn too late. Still happy to see it, because we do have the second Fulminator Mage as well. Now life total is also getting pretty low with the Thoughtseize and the Boggart Bog right here. There is a possibility that our opponent doesn't have any more land drops, which would be great. There's a Crumbling Vestige, so possibly another Spelunking. Don't really think they're going for the Escape Shift. Are they going for the Escape Shift? They are going for it. They know we play Flare of Malice, and going for that, I think they just expose themselves to that. Don't think that we are dying with only a Spelunking right here. They do make enough mana to go for a Primeval Titan though. But with them knowing we play Flare of Malice, that sounds super risky for no real reason. Do they just buy back all their lands now? Or they go for the Primeval Titan. That's so risky. Like if we had a Flare right here, they would just die. We don't have it, so guess we are dying ourselves. So don't really think that there is an out for us. That's so risky. They just grab 2 forests to pay for the pact. Don't really have a way of dealing with the Titan. Just another Spymaster Vault, doesn't do anything. Guess we die. That was a lame one. Well, on to the next. No fetch. So let's just lead off with the type Spymaster Vault, so next we start playing our 2-drops. We'll grab the Meticulous Archive end of turn. So there probably some control variant. My guess would be that it is a Jeskai variant, somewhat similar to the Yetrek one. Yep, there's that Impala. Looks to be the case. We have to worry about Flage and the Wrath of the Skies. They keep the card on top again. There's Tune the Narrative. Yeah, pretty much just the Yetrek list. Let's run out the Apprentice where they are tapped out and make a servo. So Wrath of the Skies against our deck actually pretty fine. We can rebuild really good, really efficiently if all our opponent does is tap out sorcery speed to remove our things because of Nightmare and Unearth. So that's all they got. I don't really mind. There's a Sun Trap Trainer that can be annoying with a Flare. Opponent finds a favor. It's exactly an next build. So we find that. I think I just run out a second Apprentice. Keep up push for the Fable token, even if they might have. Yeah, so they don't have it. I could push the Trainer to get in the hit guaranteed. I also don't hate that. If they tap out for the Fable, I think we're in a really good position. Yeah, let's risk it for the biscuit. Now, if they have a board wipe, we're also still fine, because we can unearth one of the apprentices and nightmare back the other one. So even the worst case still is not bad, which is pretty much always where you want to be at. If they just play the Fable and tap out, they are pretty much dead. Like, we run out the Soultrader, there's just the Fable, yeah, I don't mind. And we even draw another land, that's perfect. So let's run out the Soultrader. I know we can also go for a big Spymaster's Vault, but let's just start going off a little. So, let's float a black mana beforehand, so both apprentices still trigger. We sacrifice the one apprentice and unearth it back. We can play the Nightmare, drain our opponent some more, and we should just have the kill. Sacrifice the apprentice, drain our opponent, Nightmare the apprentice back, and our opponent scoops it up. Tapping out against this deck, really dangerous. Sideboarding against the Jeskai Control build, I'll shave on the fatal pushes, because the creatures are just small, dorky wizards. Flage, which is important, and the Fable. Also shave on Bowmasters, because almost none of the creatures die to it, so doesn't really matter. Getting rid of Snapcaster Mage, okay, it stops them from drawing cards, but with Flame of Honor, and also prevents them from using Fable to the full potential, but that's okay, Also getting rid of the Cursed Marauder, because there is actually a decent bit of token creatures there with the Fable, and otherwise smaller stuff that I don't really want to use the 2 mana for. Shaving 1 Unearth, because I probably bring in some Graveyard Hate. And what I bring in is actually pretty difficult. Like, I could bring in the Sword Sealers over the Fulminator Mages to discard some of their high impact spells, but I actually like going for the Fulminator Mages and just cheesing them so that they have to tap out to play all their spells and they don't have any mana open to interact with us. And I also bring in the Spellbomb and the Surgicals to get rid of Flage, because that's the only real thing that threatens us. So let's get rid of those, bring these in, and let's run it back. This unfortunately is a 1-lander, but it is a really good one. We are up 1-0. So, do as I preach, not as I do. I will keep it, but I shouldn't. I should not keep it. It's a tapped Lantern one that doesn't surveil. It's not a good hand to keep, but I am greedy. So, I'll see if the Gravecrawler Recursion can do something against them. And if we just hit the second land drop even, together with the Nightmare, it might just come together and work. And we just draw land. We're never punished. So, let's just grab our Blood Crypt. Never punished, and I will lead with one of the 2 Gravecrawlers. Could have led with the Stitcher's Supplier to potentially run out a Nightmare next turn, but I think for now I want to keep my graveyard empty and not have any high threat targets in there, so they don't just run out the Graveyard Hate right now and they maybe just leave us be. And also the Gravecrawler just hits for 1 more, which might come in handy. Realistically, probably won't against them because of the Flage life gain and all the single target removal. They grab a Meticulous Archive end of turn and keep the card on top. There is no red mana for them. And they go for Celestial Purge on our Gravecrawler. That's cash money, we're up some mana. And I think I'll take my shot at resolving a Goblin Bombardment. Or do I run out the Apprentice? It's actually not too easy. I think resolving the Bombardment right now is pretty nice, because it makes all their other removal a lot worse. Except for Wrath of the Skies, but well, that's Wrath of the Skies for you. There's a Thunder Trap Trainer, and they find a Flame of Honor. So I definitely want to get rid of this guy. Fortunately, we didn't hit another land drop. But I'll just go for the small dogs to kill the trainer and get rid of some of their value. And there's a Morg War Marshal. That's our fancy new addition. One grabs the Sunring Forts and gets rid of another land. So that's okay. Could have also played the Bowmaster to somewhat play around the Flame of Honor and get rid of a Thunder Trap Trainer while still having Buddy on board. Might have been better, but I just wanted to dump some things in the graveyard so we're able to start utilizing that as a resource. And there's even more Gravecrawlers. What the hell? So let's just lead with the Apprentice, where they're almost tapped out. So it basically needs a Spell Pierce to really do anything. Spell Snare. Then we'll just pass a turn. Now, Wrath of the Skies would be really annoying, especially because we're just missing all of our land drops. I was greedy and kept the 1-lander, so don't forget that. I know. Leave an angry comment right down below to say that I'm so dumb to keeping this 1-lander. That's engagement bait. Punk keeps the card on top with the Parlor. Interesting. Probably Raw by the tune. Getting rid of the Bombardment is so annoying right now. They're just getting rid of the creatures I don't really care about, but getting rid of the Bombardment just hurts a lot. Yep. That's it. At the very least still deals 3 damage. Ow. There's another land. That's great. Let's just grab a Swamp. Let's just go for the value by playing all of our Gravecrawlers, because it's really annoying to deal with. Could have gone for a Nightmare and tried to bring back one of the Apprentices, but I think just running out these Gravecrawlers and being annoying as hell and making our opponent use another board wipe if they have it is really sweet. Just a tap Foundry. So let's see if they have another board wipe, and if they don't, we'll just start running them in with some zombies. Offspring Kicked Thunder Trap Trainer. That's something you don't see every day. But it's really good right here, and they do find a Wrath of the Skies and a Prismatic Ending, so they're able to deal with one of our Gravecrawlers permanently. Oh well, I really like drawing that troll actually. Another land is just really sweet, so we can Nightmare twice and make their board wipe a whole lot worse. Sacrifice one of those to run out the Apprentice, and sacrifice the Servo to get the second one. That even if they block the Grave Crawlers, they still take the 2 damage. And if they just board wipe without using the ending first, they actually die. And even if they use the ending before, because they do take the 4 damage here, they are in a shit position. They will soon realize that even blocking doesn't save them from any damage. It reduces the damage of the Wrath next turn, of course, but still getting them down to 5, so that they have to use the ending before using the Wrath. Pretty annoying. Pretty annoying. Otherwise they go down to 1 and we just kill them with the Bowmaster. And there's the ending. And is there also the Wrath afterwards? There is. So still no Plage is really lucky for us. We can't deny that. We did hit our land drops, which was lucky, and our opponent just does not find any Flages, which is also really lucky yet again. There's no denying that it is a chain of fortunate events for us. Opponent goes down to 3. We just buy back the Apprentice once more, and they just scoop it up. Sweet! On to the next one. We actually won a die roll, that's really good. And our hand also looks like a win. Nice, let's keep it. If our opponent plays a deck where Fate Push does something, that would be great. And even if they don't, we do have Apprentice with Flare and a Mock War Marshal afterwards. There's a handful of really good draws for us, and we are really interactive right here. That's probably the most interactive game 1 end I've ever seen with this deck. Let's just grab a Surveyor, opponent plays a Flood Strand and nothing else. They might be on another control play, they might also be on energy and just don't have 1-drop. Loads of possibility. I think I'll just get rid of that. We have enough interaction with creatures. Looking for 3 drops and another lands. Unearth is also pretty interesting actually. Means our future. And it's also even more cheap interaction if we unearth the Marauder. It's also decent if they just get rid of the Apprentice. Definitely would like to draw another land next turn. Phone surveys for Meticulous Archive, so it's probably another control play. It might also be Esper Catramos, but they get rid of nothing. They are actually blue-white with maybe a red splash. We just draw another War Marshal, so let's try to overwhelm our opponent with small shits. Opponent fat shocks for Hallowed Fountain, so they are straight up blue-white control, and they counterspell our Mock War Marshal. I don't mind that, like, if that's something they counterspell, I am happy, but it's probably just something they have to deal with. There is an Narset. Well, that's annoying, but we do have Flare to get rid of it instant speed if they try to go for the Days Undoing. Wandering Emperor, they are going deep. I think I just run out another War Marshal and hit our opponent. Do I hit the Narset? Yeah, hitting Narset probably is worth it. They don't get to dig further. And if they combo, we can still just use a Flare, but it means that they don't get to dig any deeper and they don't get to grab another spell with it. Probably worthwhile. They go for the... Oh, damn! That's a good one. Definitely want to get rid of all of those. Don't even know if they have the Wandering Emperor anymore. Could go for the Flare right now to have Unearth next turn and get rid of this one now. But I think I can just Flare on my turn. Like, if they have... Well, just let this one die. If they have Force of Negation for it, it's a little annoying, but it's still okay, I think. Definitely hope just roll land. That's no land, but that is also pretty good. Also means that we can get rid of all of those without using our Flare. I don't mind, actually, our opponent. And if we just draw land and they don't board wipe us, we're able to just get rid of, kill them with a soft Soultrader combo. I'm so glad they stack it this way, because that means we still get rid of the Jace. There's a Force of Negation for it. Damn, opponent has it all. But they are not playing Terminus. So J0 is a liability right here for them. And they also just got rid of another spell. They pitched the Wandering Emperor and that tune the narrative to save the Jace that's down to 1 and can't 0 because of our Bowmasters. If I don't have a board wipe here, I feel pretty good. But if they have one, might be dicey. They're down to 2 cards, so you have to draw lands. Is that a board wipe? Looks like a verdict, probably. Wrath of the Skies. Ah, Jace. I mean, we can unearth the Bowmaster to get rid of Jace, but we are basically also down to 2 cards. Like, our Fatal Push is just dead in this matchup. There is another land drop. At least something. Let's get rid of Jace. If we just have 1 more land, we are actually able to Fatal Push a Hall of Storm Giants. That's probably their only target for it. Okay, they don't play Hera, so they probably also play Snapcaster Mage, I'd assume. So otherwise, they would just play Kahira. The opponent doesn't have any interaction. And redraw a Nightwing, we might be able to kill them. We can grab some more War Marshal and the Apprentice. No, we need one more mana for that. We actually don't have it. They hardcuts the Lorien reveal. They are going in! That's some hits in your face, opponent. Woo! That's what they were thinking about. That's understandable, though. Going in like this is really risky. Let's just hit our opponent for 5. They're down to 4 HP, so they are really low. And we have the Soultrader that resolves. They did not have a Solitude right there. That's huge for us. Basically needed a board wipe or multiple cards together, like the Ferry bounce our Orc army in the removal for the Soultrader. But then our Bowmaster still triggers once more. Like even the Ferry getting rid of the token doesn't really do anything. Yeah, it's just a rough spot for them. Especially because we drew another Flare, so if they have a Planeswalker that's still able to get removed by that. Is that another board wipe? That's a board wipe. Yep. Meow. That's unfortunate. Chant to time warp us. It's annoying, but we wouldn't really have anything good to play either way. We would have played the Bombardment, but I guess it's just what it is. They are down to 3 lives, so still just hoping to find the last bit of damage. We have a really special guest coming again. Here she is. Kitty. Opponent just passes a turn after playing a land. I like to see it. Like, they're down to 2 cards, so I think I just run out the Bombardment so that most creatures are just lethal. We have a huge chunk of creatures that have 2 bodies that also do damage. Apprentice does an additional damage if we sacrifice a server, so that's lethal. Bowmaster does a damage on ETB, so that's lethal. Mock Warmash is just 3 bodies, so that's lethal. Maybe I should have just kept Flare up, because they are somewhat showing that they have Solitude. They don't. Lucky for us. They started getting life now, would be annoying. Just deck in a little further, and just grab a Swamp Gravecrawler. That's an annoying little piece, so let's run him out. Especially because even if they get rid of it, still in the yard, so another zombie also makes an additional body. And they use their counter spell on it. So, more zombies please. Looks like there is a Solitude coming. They start getting life. Unfortunately, we don't have the Flare up. Would have been so great if they tried to Solitude the Gravecrawler and we just flared in response. That would have been so nice. But of course, we have the hand with both Fatal Pushes against the blue-white deck that has literally no target for it. And there's a ending for Bombardment. No, opponent. Why do you have fun, opponent? You know, opponent's upkeep will use a Flare. The last card was a Snapcaster Mage to buy back the counter spell. Oh no. But I guess on the lucky side, I was right that they are running Snapcaster Mage. They chant us in the upkeep. That's okay. Yet again, we don't really have anything great going on. Gravecrawler is actually pretty good. We can't block the Solitude, but it means we also get to play the second Gravecrawler. And maybe they activate the Hall now, so we're able to push it. Actually love that. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, opponent. Start attacking us. Tap out. Yes. Yes. Who actually pushed the Hall of the Storm Giants? Oh, sweet Jesus. And we find an Unearth. Yeah. Oh no, let's just run out the 2 Gravecrawlers. Let's not be too greedy. Because maybe they have another board wipe. And together with the Unearths, we might be able to comment them next turn with, depending on what we draw, the Ferry. Annoying, but okay. They bounce a Gravecrawler, sure. And they play land. We take a hit for 3. Yes, I could cycle the Unearths, but I think just having it ready to get the Bowmaster now is more important. So let's do just that. Let's grab the Bowmaster, get rid of the Ferry, and have some blockers. Nice, nice. Run out the Gravecrawler again. I will keep the Bogger Crawler in hand for now, because that means that we can keep up Spymaster's Vault. If they attack with a Solitude, we double block, cycle some more. Stock up. That goes around Bowmaster. No, opponent. Why do you play Stock Up? Play Braid Search. Play the good cards, opponent. Why are you doing this to me? No! Ending on the Bowmaster. That's annoying. It's really annoying, actually. And the Ferry also really annoying, because the Spymaster Vault only goes off of creatures dying. We can't block the Solitude. We are dead next turn if we don't play the Trawler and have a way of actually blocking the Solitude. Opponent was so low on life. Sephiroth is a great one. Let's make sure the Ferry dies, and let's run on Sephiroth. And we find a Nightmare. Sweet Jesus. Nice. No, we're not able to kill our opponent this turn, because we don't have quite enough mana. But it's still so huge. I'll actually just grab the Mock War Marshal because it's the most buddies. Even if they board wipers, it still keeps behind a token. And if they don't get rid of our board and they don't have any interaction, like they only have 2 cards. They draw a second one. And if none of those is interaction, even though their entire deck is interaction, we get the infinite combo with Mock War Marshal and the Nightmare. Looks like there is another Solitude. Okay, so we don't go infinite because we don't have the life game of Sephiroth, which we would have needed. Opponent attacks with both. I will go for the double block because we still get the body of the token. I want to preserve my life a little so we can actually start doing things with the Soultrader. Opponent, do you have another counter spell? I think I'll run out the Trawler first, so that if they have a Snapcaster Mage, they can't counter it. No Snapcaster. They still might have a counter spell right here, which would be really annoying because I already went through a handful of those. There it is. We're both down to 0. We do have a Trawler to block the Solitude, both just in straight up top deck mode. We only went through 1 of our Nightmares, so there's still 2 more Nightmares left. They just make us mill a card and cycle through the land. That's pretty good for them. Don't get to look for more cards. Looks like what they drew still wasn't good. What an intense game 1. Holy moly. Definitely just gonna run out the Mock War Marshal. All those buddies. Great. His snare. Oh no! Oh no! Do I attack with the Trawler? I don't think I will. They snare getting rid of the Mock War Marshal. And they still have the Sanitarium to filter their draws. And if they top deck a Narset, they can just lock us out with it. Which is really annoying. Maybe I shouldn't have played the War Marshal because of that actually. Let's trade away the Solitude. Don't use the Sanitarium, so let's loot with our Goblin. Just put 2 counters on it. Get rid of another Gravecrawler, so just drawing a zombie is insane. We have 3 Gravecrawlers in our yard. That's another Trawler. Funny. I think just so I don't get locked out by a potential Narset top deck, I will just keep the Trawler in hand. Because it doesn't do too much. I think I'll actually get rid of the body, so we can flare Narset or Jace or something like that. Okay, they get rid of a land. Phyrexian Tower, that's just a dud. Absolutely no need to play it. Opponent for 3. Pass the turn. What a game! Like, it's going back and forth and back and forth. Holy moly, opponent is down. This is actually nuts. Apprentice is a really good one. That's some buddies that I used to know. Another Vault might actually be okay, but I think I just don't bother playing any more lands. I'll just keep them for the Sanitarium. Apprentice makes another buddy. Let's attack. Opponent uses their Misty. Do they even have any more lands in their deck? Like, they discarded a Fountain and a Breed. They don't! Opponent has no more lands in their deck. Maybe a second Plains. That's the only thing that could be the case. Like, they probably play a second kid. That's so stupid. There's a Soultrader. Next turn we can go off. Next turn we have the combo. We are actually there, finally. Supreme Verdict. That's annoying, but it still deals damage to our opponent. And we can play the Soultrader and all of the Gravecrawlers. Do they have their last counter spell? They do. No! Opponent! That was the last counter spell. And they just pass the turn. We also just pass the turn. We have Outplay of Malice. We have a way of interacting with their stuff. And the lands are just here to be discarded to the Sanitarium, and so that we don't die to top deck Narset. And they also just pass it back. The last Gravecrawler. The promised son. He is back. And so come all of his siblings. Gravecrawler, cast Gravecrawler, cast Gravecrawler, and cast Gravecrawler. 8 power on board, opponent. You're at 8 life. What do you do? And we have the Free Flare of Malice, and if you just remove them one by one, we do have the Spymaster Vault to start looting. There's a Tune the Narrative. Sure, opponent. Monumental Henge. That allows them to look basically at the rest of their deck. There's just the Wrath of the Skies. That's annoying. But they're down to 2 cards again. Another Trawler. Let's just run it out and exile our opponent's yard once more. Pass the turn. We're not even dead to Narset Days combo right now because our opponent is so low on cards. All of their cards is in exile. Basically look at their entire library with the stock up. What is going on? We're still in game 1. I hope you enjoy Magic like this. I definitely do. I love it. I think this is a blast. There's the Scepter. Do they have the lock now? With 6 cards left in library. Looks like they do. No more attacking for us. But they're down to 6 cards and we have a Flare to get rid of a Solitude. So we are not dead to this. Like, we can't attack them anymore, sure. And we have no way of interacting with that, sure. But what do they do with it? Is there even a way for our opponent to win like this? So now we can just play the second vault. Like, there's no point of keeping the lands anymore. Does our opponent even have a way of winning like this? That's the question. We're just sitting here and looking at the movie. There's a Solitude, sure. So let's cast the Flare. And we gain even more life. No more counterspell. We go up to 10. They fetch with the Flooded Strand. They deck them even further? They don't have no goddess left. Oh, Jesus. On to sideboarding. Opponent. What a game. What a game. Sideboarding against blue-white control. Now, there's loads of different things we could bring in. We could bring in Swordseize to stop them from board wiping or to get rid of their win conditions. We could bring in the Spellbounds to stop the Snapcasters and have a card to cycle. I decided to do something different. I'll bring in Fulminator Mages to get rid of their main win conditions and to stop them from doing their board wipes efficiently with mana left to interact with us. Fulminator Mage would have sneaking in those victories. And what we bring out, obviously the Fated Pushes, they are just bad. Shave one of the flares, even though they are our main way of attacking, which we hope we don't have to interact with them. Oh, also, bring in out the Cursed Marauder, so we can bring in the last Fulminator Mage. And shave one of the Grave Crawlers, because so much of their removal is actually Exa-based, Prismatic Endings, the Solitudes and stuff. And we'll bring in the Turak Dreadcanter, because they can basically only get rid of it with the board wipes. And it discarding 2 cards is really nice. So let's take out those, bring these in. And let's see if we're even able to finish game number 2. This hand looks absolutely supreme. Let's keep it. Top decking an Apprentice, also pretty sweet. Definitely want to draw some more lands, but so far I'm happy with it because the tower might just maybe be the second and third land that we deserve. Oh, milling the Turok does reveal to our opponent what we're up to. And it also means that we can't kick it, unfortunately. Getting it back still annoying for our opponent to deal with because, as already said, it only dies to the board wipes. There's another Mesa. Sure. I could just unearth him. Don't think I will. I think I just attack and keep up these Bowmasters. Don't need to sacrifice anything so far. Any other supplier? No. How about you don't? Let's just sacrifice it to the tower. Another great reason to play tower. And we mill a Fulminator Mage. That's a good target for our unearth next turn. Let's flash in the Bowmaster. It eats a counterspell. Sweet. So let's just do what we are here for. Run out the Apprentice, make a servo, and unearth our Fulminator Mage and get rid of their second blue and second white source. Sweet. No board wipes for our opponent, but counterspell is up. There is a Teferi. That's fine. Bounce the Apprentice, we get to make more token. And we do fight the Nightmare. Let's just attack the Teferi for now. And let's go for the Nightmare with the Fulminator Mage. It is the dream. We are living the dream. Get rid of the second blue source. And let's run as a Stitches supplier for good measure. This is why Fulminator Mage is so great in this deck. All the reanimation spells. Opponent doesn't have counterspell at their disposal now. They're just here to die to our Fulminator Mage. Run the Apprentice. Spell Snare. That's annoying, but that means that our Nightmare will resolve. Let's just play the Trawler. I also didn't want to sacrifice that. Like, I wanted to play the Trawler like this. It's just the habit. I'm tired. It's almost 12 o'clock. And I just misplayed like this. Now they can board wipe away the Nightmare, which is really bad. Yeah, that was a really bad misplay. Let's just start sticking the Sephiroth. They shock a fountain. They activate their Monumental Henge already. And they find a Teferi. Guy is annoying, but it is what it is. We do find an Apprentice, which is really nice with the Sephiroth and the Bombardment. Let's attack them and sacrifice the servo to drain them and deal damage with the Apprentice and draw a card. So many ants stapled onto each other and they scoop it up. Nice. What a match. On to the next one. Match number 4. We won another die roll. Sweet. And it's yet another one-lander. But this time I will calm down and do the good thing and mull it because we are on the play. On the draw, grab a Surveil, find another land, and is so good. But like this, unfortunately have to ship it. This is too many lands, but the supplier might find stuff. And I don't really want to mulligan any further. Let's try it. Let's get rid of one of the swamps. And let's give it a good old college try. Just draw Sephiroths, and we are golden with the sand. Get rid of 2 Fatal Push and a Night. Get rid of the Nightmare Set. Get rid of both Fatal Push. It's funny as hell. Opponent is also on a Bloodstained Maya Blood Crypt deck. What? No way. There's no way. Take our opponent deck. We already made the deck popular. I'll just take all this to myself. And they do have an apprentice as well, so their hand looks to be a lot better. Unless we miss something good to unearth. There is a way we just kill them next turn. There is a chance. It is slim, but if we have the right mill and the right top deck as well, we might kill our opponent. Just get rid of this one. That doesn't really do anything, so let's just sacrifice the supplier and look for some more. There is a Soultrader and an apprentice, but we can't get both. So let's just grab the supplier, I think. Our opponent might just combo us next turn. I should have attacked right there. But if they do have a combo, we just die either way. But what? It's a mirror. And they're also playing the Red Splash. That's just... What is this league? Like, we're getting dumped up by Titan. 2 unfortunate games. And then we play against Jeskai Control and just steamroll them. Actually, they do play Bloodgust, so the list is different. And there is a second apprentice. So we are in trouble, but they are tapped out and we might just find something. Then we play against Blue-White with one of the craziest game 1s I've ever played. And now we play the mirror. What is this league? I will take this block. What a crazy league. And we find the Soultrader. Oh, it doesn't seem to have any interaction. What a crazy league this is. But we have the combo. Okay, on to sideboarding. Our sideboard is actually pretty well suited for the mirror because we do have the Meathook Massacre, which is an insane card. So for the mirror, Meathook Massacre is great. We'll definitely bring in this. Spellbomb and Surgical to get rid of their combo and to keep their graveyard in check against Nightman stuff. Obvious inclusions. We'll take out one Unearth because they probably also bring a graveyard hit. They probably also have Trawler and such. I shave one Grave Trawler as well because it's just one of the worst combo pieces. Also shave a Mock Marshal, so we do hinder our combo. Shave a Bowmaster because the only card draw is Sephiroth and it just doesn't really kill too much in the deck. And it also shaves the Curse Marauder, which might be bad, but there's a lot of token creatures and they can often just sacrifice something like a Grave Crawler. So I think it's also by far the worst interaction. Flare of Malice makes sure they have to sacrifice one of the big things, so then Fatal Push can't just target the big things. So I do it like this, and I'm pretty much banking on Meathook Massacre just being a monster here. My hand looks pretty good. Spellbomb into Apprentice and Soultrader with a Chthonian Nightmare as well. So we are able to follow a great linear plan and we're able to interact with our opponent's combo. And also our opponent is mulliganing down to 5. That's rough. Opponent kept 5 cards. They shock in the Blood Crypt and it looks like they have a turn 1 play. There's a supplier. That's a good turn 1 play. They also play Faceless Looting. That's interesting. Faceless Looting is good with the reanimation, but I think the card disadvantage it still provides is a bit bad. We draw the Bowmaster. That's also really good for us, especially that with our opponent being on Faceless Looting. That makes Bowmaster a whole lot better. No turn 2 play, it looks like. They just hit us with the supplier. We just take the hit. I think I just go aggressive and play the Apprentice now. I could keep up the Bowmaster. I think just playing to the board with our opponent mulliganing like this means that we might just be able to kill them next turn. But with them keeping 5 and not having a 2-drop right here, unless there is a Bowmaster coming, they probably do have interaction. It looks like there's just a Bowmaster. They cycle Unearth. Damn, I would have absolutely loved to have this Bowmaster. What? It's our opponent's list shaving Bowmaster. Looting, probably wrong. Probably should just get rid of another War Marshal. But I just like all the buddies to have with the bombardment. Home plays their bombardment and they don't have anything else going on. And we find a bombardment for our own. That's great. We have the board presence, we have more cards, we have our opponent's graveyard locked. This game is pretty much over. They sacrifice the supplier to the flare to get rid of the apprentice. That's annoying, but nothing spectacular. Still get the hit in, we still have the bombardment, and they did use a flare like this. Keeping our apprentice alive would be a death sentence for them though, so probably reasonable line. I will get rid of the supplier with a trigger on this deck so they can't get back a potential Gravecrawler if they mill it. So it just mills 6 cards like this. There's a Gravecrawler. Was milled with the second trigger, so they wouldn't have been able to get it back, but still stopped them from doing something. And I think I just use the Spellbomb right now to hopefully draw a second land. Oh no, we do have another land here. But I still think drawing a card right now is pretty good. With the 2 cards and no more land. No way for our opponent to really come back. And we draw a Massacre. We draw a Massacre. That will be brutal. Play the Nightmare. And let's play Bowmaster to get back the Apprentice. Ping our opponent. Yeah, this is over. Opponent mulling to 5 is just rough. That's a whole lot of damage they're gonna take. Especially because we're able to sacrifice the army in between the triggers. To drain them even further. And they scoop it up. Well, the deck is catching on. On to the last one. Afterthoughts! We are done with the league. And we have a really nice deck here. We played against a Soultrader list. Like, people are catching on to it. It's good with Sephiroth. And I actually still think this deck is somewhat underplayed. I think it might be a solid tier 2 deck. Absolutely not tier 1. The Energy, Amulett Titan, the Flicker deck. All absolutely better deck senses without any questions. But I think this deck actually has a really good shot against loads of decks in the meta, especially the more interactive decks, as we've seen against the Jeskai list especially, that don't have too much exile removal. Just recurring Gravecrawler is really good, and the card advantage from Nightmare is really good. This deck actually has a ton of different angles that are tough to interact with all together, so I think there is a place for this deck. Maybe it's not tier 2, maybe it's tier 2.5, the tier where everybody says their pet deck is, but that's actually just tier 3. But I honestly really like it, and I think with the Meathook Massacre edition, the energy matchup also is pretty decent. Only played against it once off screen, but Meathook Massacre made it so that we sneakily won game 1, and game 2 just played it on turn 2 without killing anything, and the game was almost a wrap. So I think this deck can definitely be tuned any further. Was the Red Splash worth it? We didn't go off with the War Marshal as intended. War Marshal still was pretty nice together with Bombardment, and in the league I've played off testing, I also never actually went infinite with it, Nightmare and Soultrader. That's unfortunate, but it mostly was because I never draw Nightmare. Maybe the deck should play a Force Nightmare, just go down to 2 Unearth. That sounds reasonable, especially with the War Marshal edition, and us having more go-to drops that make additional bodies, Nightmare becomes even better. So that might be a change I'm happy to make. 4 Nightmares sounds pretty sweet in this list. And other than that, Bombardment was good. Bombardment is just a really good card, and even if the splash is just for Bombardment, not the War Marshal, because we have not infinited with it, and you can just play the Bowmaster and have some Shambling Gases less. Honestly, that might just be better, but Bombardment as additional interaction is really nice. And if it's not War Marshal and not all the additional bodies, just having Shambling Gas with Bombardment also should be pretty good. The sideboard, I think I like it as it is. Could use some help against Amulett though, but the loss against Amulett was also so unfortunate. Our opponent just going for it when they're so soft to Flare of Malice. Us missing the land drop from its Fulminator Mage where we would have had time for it otherwise. Maybe put in a Damping Sphere, but they do have Bosages and stuff. So I think the matchup like this should be fine. I've only played against Amulett that once, but the Discard plus Fulminator Mage, I think it should be fine. So if you guys are testing the list some more, please let me know how you think the Primeval Time matchup is. If you found a way to fix Prowess, please let me know. Let me know. This is my new pet deck. Is it the best deck? No. When I'm going to actual tournaments, I'll play something different. I'll probably just play Energy. But if I'm at locals and I'm trying to have fun, and I don't have another deck queued that I want to test, this is pretty much what I'm coming back to, I think. Maybe it's just because of Sephiroth. Maybe it's just because I have not played Brute Scale yet with Sephiroth. But for now, this looks like a good home for Sephiroth. And I hope you're having a good time. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you'll come back in a couple of days when we have the Brute Scare video. So have a good one, and see you in a bit.